Mr. Whitmore?
Here.
Mr. Ashworth?
Here.
Mr. Zoller?
Here.
Mr. Hazlett? Mayor Brown?
Here. This for 5 minutes. Second. Vote.
Mr. Zoller?
Yes.
Mr. Hazlett?
Yes.
Mr. Whitmore?
Yes.
Mr. Ashworth?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Public comment this evening? Commissioner's report, right? I do have a question though. Minutes from the special meeting, will we approve those?
They were both on here.
Oh, okay. So you don't approve those independently, the last regular meeting and the special meeting?
Typically you do separate motions, or we can just give direction that the minutes will reflect that both sets of minutes were approved.
The 17th and the 25th. Okay. All right. So it's right now the new theater starting on the 2nd to show the film, and they really good reports about that show. And so I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing it this weekend, and that'll be shown to the 24th of this month. And then since the last meeting, we had Salute to American Venom Drive, which we're very smooth off that, rather cooperating, a little bit of a thing, but very well attended and well organized. And then this coming weekend is the 25th annual Cruise Above the Clouds car show. So of course it will start out in Woodland Park as usual on Saturday, and then coming up to Cripple Creek on Saturday evening, and then leaving all day Sunday. And then Dennis Gage from the show, who hosts the show, My Classic Car, will be filming another episode of that. I know the last time it was filmed and aired, it was one of the highest rated views that I think that people called up and reviewed and stuff. As far as that particular show, Super Bowl probably, right? And then of course coming up, before our next meeting, we got the 2 Mile High Club Aspen Tours, and that'll be on the weekend of the 17th and 18th, and the 24th and 25th, and then also in conjunction with our first weekend of the Aspen Tours, have our annual Mount Pisgah Speaks with Gold Club Victorian Society with the cemetery, doing some storytelling and reenactments of who's there and why they're there, how they ended up in the cemetery. That's always a good event. We did the introductions coming up, probably that time of year. Don't we have a festival or something coming up about Aspen, or Big Aspen? Oh, yeah. You're exactly right. The second weekend on the 24th. The reason I didn't put that in because we'll have a council meeting before that. But yeah, it's the Big Aspen Fall Festival. That'll be in conjunction with the second weekend of the 2 Mile High Club Aspen Tours. Okay. And so the first weekend, we'll have the Mount Pisgah Speaks that will be joining in with that, and the second weekend will be the first annual Big Aspen Fall Festival. So. And then, as we mentioned that we have that special meeting of the council on Thursday the 25th. It was good discussions. We updated those, had several other discussions as well. And then, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at well, I think we've had some response on those goals. We need to, if there's any changes, any corrections that we need to get back to par, whatever. But it was good revisiting those, kind of dusting them off and discussing them. And then, Cripple Creek Gold Mining Company, Remote Mining Company, will be hosting a community update meeting on Tuesday, September 20th, the day before our next city council meeting at the Cripple Creek Heritage Center. And I would encourage, if all the council members could attend, and then if we need to, we could post it that all the council members would be in attendance. But there may not be any plan for city discussion. We could post it so they're going to be there. You don't have to worry about it. Okay.
What time is that?
That is from 4 to 7. Yeah, 4 to 7.
So it starts at 4.
Well, wait a second, how about if I just look at the invite? The whole say 4 to 6, because you're right, 4 to 6.
You might want to.
Yeah, so what is it, from 4 to 6 p.m.? 4 to 6.
Yeah, I'll be there too. I'll be there, I'll go.
Chris will be there. I'll be there. So Dan, we think we just go over the first. Yeah.
4 to 6.
Because, part of it that we update this on, we talked about the 2 Mile High Aspen Leaf Tours is they say they for sure they'll start clearing the hillside. But yeah, when you come down off of Tenderfoot, you can see all the roads and everything in there, so you can see kind of what's happening there. I want to talk a little bit about the trolley, two issues with trolley. We got a new trolley, the red one, February of last year, and you probably have noticed that you haven't noticed it on the street. It keeps going into limp mode. The emissions on it are so strict that it doesn't matter almost what diesel fuel you're running. It is diesel, and I understand it's a 6.6 liter GM engine, which means nothing, other than for some reason the emission system on that, they cannot get that thing to keep running. It was in the shop for several weeks down in the Springs, and on the way up here, after it was fixed, it went back into that limp mode. And limp mode means it's just enough power to run the vehicle and stuff. And so it is hopefully a warranty issue. GM's aware of it, and all the vehicle is dealing with what is happening to it. So they're looking at that. And then when we bought the new trolley, then we donated our older trolley to Victor. Well, Victor's having a difficult time keeping the properly licensed drivers, and so they're not really using that vehicle, so it's been donated back to us, and the Transportation Department and the Marketing Department are looking at doing some year-round tours that will include Cripple, the whole district. They wouldn't compete with, but they would work in conjunction with the tours that happen over in Victor with the Lord Thomas Victor Museum. And so we would work together on that. And not all the details are ironed out, but that's the concept behind it. And they'll be presenting some financials on that. At the very least, we want it to be a break-even proposition, so it wouldn't be a free tour. It'd be just, you pay and hopefully cover the expenses of fuel and the labor and the maintenance of it. When we got the city-wide trash days, trash cleanup days, it's kind of awkward because we're not really cleaning up trash throughout the city, but people are taking their trash out to Public Works, and Director of Public Works assures me that he'll have some people there to ensure to the best of their ability that they're going to put proof of residency. And I'm not sure exactly how that proof is going to be done. I don't know if it's a utility bill or how you're planning on doing it, Steve.
We're trying to get utility bill of some sort to make sure that it is that resident.
Yeah, and just in case it didn't pick up on the mic, Steve DiCamillo said that it would be a picture ID, something like a driver's license, and a utility bill, 2 forms of ID for proof of residency.
The post office uses the water bill because,
Yeah.
Cripple people get the water bill.
Right.
We use it all the time, not out to the people though, but I mean, we could try.
Steve would be the proof of you.
I don't know if it's a problem, but I'm glad you brought that up, because, I bet over half, 30% anyway.
I see him out from the county, they took from Charlotte, I see him from the guy in Bowling for me. Right. Who's good down there? You'll be getting an update on these next 3 items, the projects this year, of course, I did list Steve and Nikki on here, so they can get the notoriety the Cody got. The Cody we talked about the basketball kid, that needs resurfaced, and so she'll be coming before the council with a request for that this evening. Nikki will be coming with a request before the council for upgrades and repairs of the water treatment plant. I've also asked Nikki to give us just a really brief update on the progress of that, how that project's going. And then Director of Public Works, Steve DiCamillo, coming up with a request for chip sealing on Main Street Beacon. And so those are three projects that hopefully will, the water treatment plant may not be fully completed this year, but we've got time on that. It can spill over into next year, so we can get us up there on that. And then the school, Crescent Elementary, is looking for 2 volunteers from the council to help with junior achievement to spend the day with some fifth graders, if you think they're smarter than fifth graders. But anyway, so that's next Thursday, the 15th, from 7:30 to 1:30. The one conflict is that that's when the gaming commission will be up here next Thursday, so they'll be right here in the middle of all that. But this is something junior achievement. I don't know if any of the council members have ever have you done this? I don't know if anybody knows right now on the calendar if they could do it or could do it. You can't do it. Okay. So I'll just go back and tell them that we do have a conflict with the government commission. I'll come up here, I just put on annual meeting. So that's pretty important. If you can get over to that, I'll send a notice of that out as well. I think that's pretty important. So that's all I have. Okay. All right, appreciate it. Finance Director report, Paul?
Council, I was just going to mention the next Thursday. I don't have the agenda yet, so I'm imagining that it starts at 9, and then the meeting will actually start at 9:30. 9 will be the social time. But it is once a year when the Gaming Commission does take the time to have their meeting in our community. So if you're available, they'd love to see you. Even if you can't stay for the meeting, if you just drop by for the social time, they appreciate it. Thank you.
And that's at the office?
Yes, there's a game in the car. Yes, downstairs in the back.
Okay, agenda item number 1. Local license agreement between the City of Cripple Creek and Womack Electric Corp. to install and maintain a vehicle parking lot on a portion of the city property. Generally installed is lot 26, lot 20, in Placer.
As you know, the Central Casino is going through building this new hotel, and in the process of doing their easements and evaluations, it was discovered that their parking lot that is south of where we're going to build the hotel, they are using 14 feet of the city's property. They have been since they put that parking lot in. In my research, I could not find any signed agreement for that. Not saying they never had one, I just can't find one. So we suggested that we bring it before council for approval once again.
Were there any minutes to reflect prior discussions?
I found some letters that had gone between Central Casino and Kip Peterson. I wasn't able to find anything in the minutes, but, so.
This is the section that runs along the bike?
Yes.
The bike court?
Yes.
On this side.
And we do have a map. They will not be changing anything. Like I said, they're already using this portion. So we don't have to build on it or anything? No. It's to be used only for a parking lot.
Yeah, this is the city's typical form of revocable license agreement, and the kind of critical provisions are that the licensee, in this case WMCK Venture Corp., will indemnify the city against any loss or claims, and will carry insurance naming the town as an additional, the city as an additional insured, and perhaps most importantly, this is terminable in 30 days' notice.
All right, so you're ready to have a comment?
Eric Rose, Century Casino again. Not really, it's just something we came across on the site survey, and we just wanted to clean it up and make sure we had an agreement moving forward. Yeah, it's still a parking lot, it's south of the alley, there's nothing changing, we just wanted to make sure we had an agreement moving forward.
Well, motion that we, sign the local license agreement between the city and Public Creek and Womack Venture Corporation to start and maintain the vehicle a parking lot on a portion of the city property generally described as Lot 26, Block 20, Plymouth Plaza. Second. Vote.
Mr. Ashburn?
Yes.
Mr. Zerler?
Yes.
Mr. Ainsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Hathaway?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Agenda item number 2, CDOT grant contract for road transit shelter.
Terrence, that item is on the table to the next table.
Yes.
We don't have the contract right now.
Okay.
I should let you know that before
Agenda item number 3, request approval to award the city park basketball court renovation project to Sport Court of the Rockies.
Bernie Dodger, Park and Recreation Director. And, so this is an exciting RFP that we put together, and it's for putting a new court together, a new surface on our basketball court. We had originally tried to do both the skate park and the basketball court, but the money basically showed it that we needed to focus on one, and our basketball court is in dire need of being resurfaced. I have tonight with me Randy with the court, and so he can answer any questions, but he is the contractor that we're looking to award the bid to with our RFP.
Good evening. So working with Connie and her team, provided a bid proposal to do renovation to the gym, or excuse me, to the basketball court. This will encompass new basketball hoops, high-end basketball hoops that we will supply and integrate with the court. We will do a surface prep. We're working on a couple tennis courts at Manitou Springs here in a couple of weeks. I'd like to coordinate the project schedules with that team to come up here and actually do the work. Effectively, what we'll do is we'll do all crack repair. The asphalt in of itself is in not great shape, so we'll need to do some surface repair to it. We'll do crack repair, we'll float it, we'll create, some fill areas for the undulations. And then effectively, Sport Court is a modular system that will float on top of that asphalt surface. So aesthetically, it will continue to look beautiful. It'll make it more than just a basketball court. We're also going to put in a net system, so the net system can be raised and lowered, so you can play volleyball, badminton, pickleball, short tennis, other games as well. There's a huge safety component to the tile system as well, from a head concussion perspective as well. And again, we'll work with our team to create some design work with it, and aesthetically it'll look great. So if you have any questions about the system, it's intended to stay out year-round. It's got a 15-year limited warranty. Effectively, functionally, it should last about 20 years. I will caveat that because of the asphalt surface underneath, I would anticipate every 4 to 5 years we would need to come out and lift the court, do crack repair to the surface again at about a $2,000 to $3,000 cost, and then put the court back down. But again, the court system will last functionally 15 to 20 years plus. We put this in at Cheyenne Mountain Resort here recently down in Colorado Springs. We've done many residential and commercial applications with it. My company owns all of the distributorship for Colorado, so we've got over 600 courts in the state of Colorado where we've done this application. But aesthetically, it'll look gorgeous.
I'm Julie. So we also are working with the different colors, so it'll show the different stuff, and Randy's been kind to us that he's given us so many colors that it's not going to cost us extra.
Correct.
And we're also proposing and working with Newmont Gold Mining Company to put their logo in the center court, because this money is basically the donation that happened years ago. So we're using a portion of that money, and then working with Ray and Paul, we asked for a little bit carryover to put in that netting system. And so that looks like it's going pretty well. So at this point, we just wanted to get the notice of award signed and approved and moved on.
Did we get any bid?
We did not.
We solicited. So this was the new bid we got, but it's rated out of time,
Yeah.
And then, so what happened is we actually had a bid, we were looking for a basketball court. And when Connie was showing up and the stuff that Randy had turned in, we started noticing, saying, well, gosh, it looks like they do combination basketball, tennis courts, and then Randy explained that it's adjustable nets, and then I guess that the poles can even be removed, so you have full court basketball, and then there would be some obstacles.
Yeah, and other alternatives down the road would be, adding like futsal goals or portable hockey goals. You can do inline hockey up and down on it as well, so there's other alternatives for the system as well. The alternative is to do an acrylic resurface, which we would do with the tennis court. The two initial issues that you have, one is the cracks that are currently are filled with a rubberized system, and we'd have to cut that out and remove it, so there's significant site prep with that. Secondarily is those cracks will return, and you will see that with the expansion and contraction of the asphalt in the winters that we have here in Colorado, those cracks will return in a short period of time. So it's really good money that's not going to be, well spent. Alternatively, we'll do a great job with the site prep, put the tile system down, and really it's a low maintenance item for you guys.
Will your costs include the minimum level?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Some of the wording in the notice, he kind of jumped out at me. There's a lot of shoulds in there, that probably should say shall. Like, number 4, price should include, number 5, price should include, number 6, price should include. Should be wrapped, shall, should it?
Yeah, and you'll see that the city's temporary performance inspection agreement and general conditions are attached. So those are actually the operative documents rather than one agreement. And it's very specific as to what's required in the contract.
So, I know you just, are you thinking this can be done this year?
excuse me?
Can this be done this year?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the site preparation. My plan, assuming receipt of notice of award, will be by the end of September, we will begin site preparation. My anticipation on that will be a 2 to 3 stay here to do the site preparation. At the same time, Connie and her team have removed the existing hoop systems. There are holes there where we will effectively set anchors at the same time. So we'll get all that site preparation done. We'll order the product as well. So once we get design considerations figured out, we'll order up all of the product. That takes me about 3 weeks to get in-house. Once we have that, we'll come on down again. We'll put the hoops up with the net adjustment system, the tile down in another 2 to 3 days. I would anticipate by the end of October we would be completed.
Is this stuff, I'm assuming, temperature sensitive?
Yeah, there is 100%, yes. Mainly around the concrete and the site preparation, the modular system that'll float, there is no temperature variation. We could come in December and do it. We do weather days. No, not necessarily. Because of the amount of concrete that we're going to be applying and such, we'll make sure that we're here, and effectively we're just trying to keep the ambient temperature above 40 degrees for concrete curing. And the bonding of the acrylic patch binder that will apply to the system. So that's the piece that would be a little bit weather dependent, but by the end of October, we'll be able to come in and do all the work necessary, and we'll have good weather days. So, great question.
When you post the footnote on this, are there any thou shalt nots? Other than ice skates?
Well, since really that's it. Thou shalt not put any effectively metal. So we can type the out there. You can do scooters, you can do rollerblades, you can do bikes. But effectively, if you had a metal pedal bike and someone fell over and gouged it, the metal would gouge the plastic system. Some of the beauty with the system therein would be is that you can literally replace those 2 or 3 tiles, pop them out with like a screwdriver. We'd have replacement tiles. We'll give you some excess tiles for that as well, and then just replace those. Those are pretty simple. Theft and vandalism are common questions that we got. It's a modular system. It's a 1-by-1 system, but when you put it in its mass, people don't realize that it's an individual tile system. We've done this in a number of different parks with the city of Denver. They had that fear. We've not had any theft or vandalism. It's a question that we get that's just not common. It just really isn't. So, and you've got security fencing all the way around, so I really don't anticipate any issues.
The other nice piece is if it needed to be relocated, that this tile system can go with, if it was to be moved. So,
I'll make propose the approval of the request for the award to the City Park Basketball Court renovation project, the sport court of the Rockies. I'll second. Vote.
Mr. Haslett?
Yes.
Mr. Ashford?
Yes.
Mr. Lutheran?
Yes.
Mr. Zoller?
Yes.
Mayor Whitman?
Yes. Good agenda item number 4. Shane River, Waterfall Improvements, Engineering, Alpha Works, DDO.
Yes, thank you, Mickey Rose, City of Cripple Creek, County Operations Director. If you would like to just, the project, I don't anticipate not making the end of the year deadline. To date, I have no information that would cause me to think that we would. The things that have been installed at the water plant, a lot of electrical conduit, some control, boxes for the UV system, and the 2 cement wet wells. Some of the process equipment is in place, not hooked up. The contractor and engineer both estimate the project's about 47% complete as it sits today. So that's pretty much where we are. If you have any questions with the state of the project, any concerns?
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, is this like a cost overrun, or just a change order? I mean, I don't quite get it, but every time I see it, we do something else. And I don't understand your field of expertise, so could you just maybe...
Okay,
just...
let's stay on track here. This is water plant improvements, engineering for Aqua Works. Okay, Aqua Works, they presented a change order in the amount of $15,000 for professional services, and that is to set out the provisions and oversee some additional work we anticipate. We haven't really contracted for it yet, but it's something that we're looking to accomplish. It'll be the tank rehabilitation. We would like to paint the interior of 2 of the tanks, and some of the well, that's for the most part, is additional work that we anticipate doing. That'll be, it's out for publication now, solicitation for bids.
The tank book is what it's talking about.
Yes, the paint tank work is out for, we've published a request for proposals. If that goes through, well, even if it doesn't go through, we've done the work, and Aqua Works has additional services from the original scope of work. So this change order is for the amount of $15,000
To paint the tank.
not for the engineer, to oversee and to do the provisions that go with painting the tank.
So these are guys that are going to guys that paint the tank, have paint the
Pretty
tank
much.
for $15,000.
Yes, sir.
And this is this all part of the budget, money budgeted for the project, or is it additional $15,000?
No, the project
in the grant amount.
is all within the original grant amount, yes.
All right.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Aqua Works, it's basically, it's not totally a one-man show, but it's a small outfit. And so they helped they did the initial design for the upgrades, and they've actually done more than what he originally contracted to do. Okay, so some of this is making up some additional work that he's done, okay? Now, we could play hardball and say that additional work wasn't approved by council, but it was approved by our representative, Nikki Groves. And so once I add everything up, and then there's this additional work that's being done as well, stuff that Steve DeCamillo will be talking about this evening that'll help integrate. So there's more design, more than just guys how they're going to paint the tank.
It does include the additional for the Steve's work.
Yeah. So what do you think of this? Well, I think it's good. No, we're good. We're doing all that good stuff. Yeah, we're definitely good. And that's one thing I want to point out. That's a great question that Councilman Logan had. Is that the tank painting, it wasn't part of the original scope, but because the bids came in less than what we had budgeted, this is allowing additional work that needs to be done, that the city would have to either apply for additional grants or pony up ourselves. So we're talking to the tune of about $100,000 or so. I don't know if that's the exact number, but about $100,000. So with this additional engineering change order, plus additional work that we see in here, plus the tanks, it all fits with, hopefully, I mean, if the tank comes in at $200,000, okay, we're not going to do all that we envision, but we expect it will come in within that, I don't know.
Yes, in the original concept of the project, I wanted to have the tanks rehabilitated, or I wanted the rehabilitation of the tanks included in the project. The project, as estimated by the engineer, didn't have enough room to do that.
But they ran out initially.
Yes, so it was a whole project.
Okay, now you put it back in because now we're having money that we're 47% down to the project. There's nothing that says, nothing glaring with us that says there's going to be any, I got you. And plus it's time and Steve, that's a big part. Yeah, now Steve's work is outside the grant, but that was a previous meeting where we approved, the council approved transferring those funds in to do the work. And that's that telemetry, having the plant talk to the wells and communicate with the wells. So another comment?
Well, I would recommend that we approve the change order as water plant improvements. Afterwards, BBL. And yourself, I guess.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Michigan.
Yes.
Mr. Zoller.
Yes.
Mr. Ashworth.
Yes.
Mr. Hazel.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes. Number 5, change order, water plant improvements, controls upgrading, non-keep controls.
Okay, this is the hopefully anticipated change order that brings in the well controls for public works. It was originally bid as an addendum to our project, so we already knew how much it would cost. And when Steve was able to get the money transferred, we made it part of the project. So the change order is for $74,496.
In this work, am I correct in saying that it is outside the scope of the grant, but it's money that we had in the budget for 2016?
I'm going to try to, I need to report it on the grant. I'll report it as matching funds to offset our grants.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
The grant, as most state grants do, have matching funds requirement. This will be a credit toward that matching fund requirement.
And it'll all go through the accounting. It'll be shown on all the grant paperwork.
Yeah, but they have the money for it.
This is what we talked about last.
We presented this and you approved it on July 6th. We took $65,000 from water mains line items, $5,000 from water meter project, and $5,000 from Gillette wells. So existing 2016 projects we're not going to do, transferring those funds. We have transferred those funds to a new line item for Steve's area, so they can do that new system.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Public comment? Like to make a motion to approve the two quarters of water plant improvement controls upgrade with one peak controls. Second. Vote?
Mr. Easley?
Yes.
Mr. Ashburn?
Yes.
Mr. Osterland?
Yes.
Mr. Zolman?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. If it would please the council, we could jump to item number 9, because it deals with what we were just talking about as far as painting of the tanks. Let's see, change one of the things, well, do you want to do item 9 then?
We show 9. Yeah, so that's the back of the page, that's changed, so
We have a little extra stuff.
okay, I didn't see that page. Okay, you want to go to 8 or we want to? 8, get them done.
Okay. Change order number 2 for Dan's Construction. Change order number 1 was in the amount of $7,000. I think we did that administratively, I'm going to be okay. A couple months ago, it was with regard to something that was left out of that, an extra, something that cost money that was actually left out of the original specs. So it was, it cost us $7,000, or it cost us $5,700 to do that. It needed done.
What is that?
The first one we did, the first change order, was for actuators.
Actuators, that's what it is.
And the actuator is actually a two-component system, and the specs pointed out a model number or a VIN number of half of the system. So we left out half of the system in the specs, but to put it in, you need both halves. So it was in our mind, legitimate expense.
What's our threshold on these change order price-wise? This seems like a real small one.
Anything. Change orders effectively in a one-year contract.
Okay.
And since the original contracts were approved by the city council, even though this is within raised spending authority, my opinion as your official fussy lawyer is that they still need to come to you.
Actually called me to ask.
That's exactly right.
And it was, had it been an emergency done thing, it did fall within my spending authority, but just to keep that paper trail very clean and make sure we didn't have any questions, and make sure that you all are fully informed, it's definitely best to do it this way at the council.
Whose document is this? Ours? What's that? The change order document. Is that our document or was the contractor supply that?
My engineer supplied this to me. Is that a whole document?
Well, there's nothing that's going to tie us up with just CDs, municipal bonds and stuff, so I'm glad it's not our document.
I didn't know it either, but I had the potential to meet you disapproval.
The city has template contract forms and general conditions. Maybe one of these days we ought to look up a template.
Okay. Sounds good. Some public comment?
This change order is for $8,500 getting to this change order, and it is to add what they call a PDI loop for the pH control of the system. It senses and adjusts the addition of a chemical. The reason, this is a nice addition, and again, we have the funds were in the Rimwood project, so value added.
I move we approve this change order to the water plant improvements and Dan's custom construction.
I'll second. Can we vote?
Mr. Ashford?
Yes.
Mr. Zerler?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Hazel? Mayor Brown?
Yes. Item 11, the request to amend Dollar Grant contract water plant improvements.
Yes. Okay, it is we weren't really anticipating having to, we thought scope of work was broad enough, but the funds associated with each line item in the Dole contract, Clay Brown, the administrator for Dole, requested, or wants to amend our original contract. So the reason for the amendment is to use this extra $100,000 or $100,000 plus to do the tank rehabilitation. So that increases the line item, which was activity number 5 in their contract, was the tanks. We were already doing some rehabilitation on the water tanks. It increases DOLA's line item for activity number 5 by $27,000. The CDPHE, it would change theirs by $65,000, and they're already in agreement and I don't know if they started to make another amendment, but they're waiting for DOLA's commitment before they do. So, for Clay to address that, he needs your request, and that's what I'm asking for here.
I kind of get it, so.
Yeah, they were just, we're going to change the scope, and just, really, it's so assurance that the city council is aware of what's going on, and that's why they asked for the mayor to sign it. Mr. Brown asked for Mr. Brown to sign it. Mr. Brown. Okay, so, one comment? Make a motion request to amend the Dollar Grant contract, water plant improvements. Second. Vote?
Mr. Hazel?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Ashford?
Yes.
Mr. Zerler?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Good job. Thank you.
And I need signatures on all those things. Okay?
You got it.
Enjoy it. Appreciate it. Okay, back to item number 6. Request of approval for the contract agreement with Universal Field Services to work on temporary easement acquisitions to Charles Park. Steve McMillan, Public Works Director. We have Universal Services under contract for the Hess project realignment of Tower 1. We have never extended their contract to do the trails part of it. So that's what this is for, is to bring them in with us to do the work. We have 7 temporary easements that we have to get permission to step on the property. The difference in the contract, dollar-wise, is the project manager and the senior agent each went up by $5 an hour from the original grant. That is the base rate. The
The big difference is, we were only dealing with 2 properties before, we are dealing with 7 this time. So the total overall cost of, estimated cost not to exceed is $20,000. That's because of the difference in the number of properties we're dealing with.
So where's the money coming from? Well, it'll come from the grant that we have from CDOT as well as BOA. Fortunately, when we put that dollar grant in, which I used to remember the exact number for.
896.
837, 600 or something like that. Anyway, we had put in $30,000 more for the purchase of the 2 tracts of land that we need to buy. Because I thought, well, just for cushion, and then plus there's escalations and contingencies built into those grant numbers, so all of this still should fit in with the whole grant. Now, we don't know, we haven't built the project yet, so when it comes in for asphalt and everything else, I hope it comes within what we estimated, because we put in reasonable escalations and contingencies to handle this, so I don't, at this point, I'm not concerned about it. The thing, and this is probably a cleaner way to do it, but it's not how, when we have strictly a city project, that we've had to deal with it in the past. For instance, if we're going to excavate through somebody's driveway, we'll tell them, hey, if it was gravel, we'll bring gravel in, and we'll make it a better driveway than what you had, and we do it later, typically. But with state funds like this, CDOT is not going to allow us to do a handshake deal to do the inside of the curb, and we'll talk to the Bowmans and other people and just say, yeah, fine, when you do it, just put a little asphalt there for me, I'll be happy. They actually want to see agreements with each of those landowners up through there. And I guess probably the county is probably one of them. Yeah, the county is one of them that we have to have a temporary easement agreement with, so.
I've been very impressed with this firm. I think they've done a good job. I like their documents. They've achieved what we've asked for from them, so they're not cheap, but I think they do a very good job.
Very dusty. What are we, presently, what are we up to on this project dollar amount?
On trails, I don't think we've spent a lot on trails. 60,000 in the dollar.
I've got a sheet that tracks it, but it's over multiple years that we've been working on this.
Yeah, so I think if you figure both of those grants, the trails and the highway realignment, I think it's somewhere in the $70,000 range. I don't know if that sounds about right.
I can email that to you.
No, actually, I didn't specify. On the road realignment, what are we up to?
I did not grab those numbers. I was not expecting to do the road realignment.
That would be the bulk of the 67,000 or something that we spent maybe. Now, of course, I don't know if that's what the city has spent or what's been spent total on the project, because we've had some reimbursements.
Yeah, our out-of-pocket is less.
Yeah,
I can email you those sheets.
Okay, I appreciate it.
But now we have cut the checks for the property acquisition piece, so that's
I understand that.
numbers up.
Thank you. What are these 7? How are the 7
Well, that's one of the reasons that you employ landmen like this. They know the prerequisites for eminent domain acquisitions. It is obviously a last resort. But these negotiations will basically tee up a combination of negotiations.
And to be clarify, I guess, the temporary easement is just during the construction. Right. Yes, so there's nothing that goes on past the project. Once the project's completed, then the temporary easements are null and void. So this is,
The way it was phrased to me from CDOT, if we put 1 foot on their property, we have to pay for it. So they want this in writing before, so they don't come to us after and say, oh no, that's...
so do you want to buy that house that's out there right now?
like to make a motion, we approve the request for approval for contract with University of Services to work on the temporary acquisitions for the trial project. I'll second. Clerk?
Mr. Ashburn?
Yes.
Mr. Benson? Mr. Zerler?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Dyer?
Yes. Agenda item number 7, request approval of bid from GMCO LLC for chip and seal of fog seal on A Street and Eaton Avenue. Steve, go ahead.
So this project is going to be a chip seal starting on Wayland and by the condos just off of A. We'll come up to A Street, A all the way to Masonic, and then on Eaton. Right now I've got it from Elizabeth to 5th, all of Eaton. There are 2 high traffic areas right now. I looked at some overlays, and the minimum we're supposed to try and overlay 1 block didn't make sense when we can do all of this for just a little bit more money. So the minimum was pavement, grind and repave, and we would have got 1 block done instead of all of this project.
What's fog seal?
Fog seal is when, once you've put down your chip and seal, then they come back with a black oil type to stick that down again. So your chip and seal looks black like pavement when you're done.
Okay.
So it seals it and makes it last.
Well, if you've been out to Terrell, Reservoir, there's a long stretch of road there, and that's what you're doing and doing as well. So instead of putting the pack of fire down, then the ladder, and then running on it for a few days, and then building it up later, this all happens, I guess, pretty quick. So it doesn't necessarily give you an illusion of new asphalt, but it'll be a lot better. It's better from the dust viewpoint, it's better from the chip ratio viewpoint, and it's just a lot better method of chip seal.
They think 2 to 3 days to do all that.
And that's good. All those roads and road and things.
It's a that County Road 77 project in Ontario is a real success for the Good. We'll get it straight done.
The second part to this is this time to bring it up to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm asking for to award the bid to GMCO for the bid of $2,670. If I can read that right?
$676.
Second part is, I'd like to have permission that once, we are missing 2 documents from GMCO in order to process the actual contract. They're going to obey me those 2 documents because they are required to go elected prior to the project. Once those 2 documents are in hand, I would like to have a motion or permission from the mayor to go ahead and sign the contract at that time, so we can keep this thing moving quick.
And if that's acceptable to the council, I'll help for the motion.
Let's go. So ask the question, where's the money coming from? Budget.
There's a $121K available to...
And hopefully this will work out well and the other streets.
Well, part of that, if he says left over still, I'm trying to get some concrete work done, so.
Any comments? Okay, on motion. Did you call for a motion? Yes. Well, I think we need to help.
This one is a little more complicated. The appropriate motion would be to approve awarding the project for the chip seal, the fog seal on A Street and Eaton Avenue to GMCO LLC and authorize the mayor to sign the contract.
Does that say contingent on those 2 documents, or do we need?
It's implicit.
It's implicit. Okay. Thank you. Then by motion, we accept Lee's. I'll second.
Mr. Mr. Zammit?
Yes.
Mr. Ashworth? Mr. Hazel? Mr. Northman?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon. Test, closed. An open space coalition for lower support for local county grant for Unit E, George President. This is something we've been talking about for a few months, and of course, one of the people has been in motion since the 90s. And there's two gaps left there. There's one on the Mantis Spring side, and then there's this, depending on how the ball runs, anywhere from 2 to 20 miles, depending on how many switchbacks, that's on our side of the peak. And we've had a few meetings, we've had 2 meetings, formal meetings with Trails and Open Space Coalition, as well as the Friends of the Peak. There's been some lines drawn on maps initially by Trails and Open Space Coalition, and I think you all were aware that when that first trail, it was splitting right between the Cripple Creek water supply reservoirs and then skirting really close to the Victor water supply reservoirs there at Bison. And then, so after that meeting, the cities of Cripple Creek and Victor got together and brought the trail down out of the woods, basically, and around Gillette, and then with an option actually coming into the city of Cripple Creek and Victor, because, part of the reason that people want the peak is for open space plus for economic development for the areas that it gets near. And so that's why we thought it would be better if we came closer into town. Last week, Trails and Open Space, Friends of the Peak, and Victor, Dead Downs, and Cripple Creek, and Forest Service. We all know the Forest Service office down in the Springs. We had a very frank discussion about it, and there's quite a bit to do on the Forest Service side, because actually to make this happen, it's going to have to go over quite a bit of Forest Service property, or not, and depending on what the Forest Service says. And it's nothing's going to happen quick, they made it clear, because to do this, they're going to have to modify the Forest Service plan. But anyway, so this all lends itself to the Trails and Open Space going to the Great Outdoors Colorado, aka GOCO, for a planning grant. And they have requested from the city of Victor, Cripple Creek, Parks, Wildlife, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, the Forest Service, for those of support for a planning grant from GOCO. This is not asking for money to construct, and so the draft that was in your packet was the first one, and then upon further review, there were some words that we felt needed changed. In other words, in that first paragraph where it says that the last sentence, such a trail system is desirable in many respects, we changed the word many to some respects. We changed it that the planning effort is to ensure rather than all stakeholders, because that's broad, saying key stakeholders instead, and then added some words in that same paragraph to say, that make sure the concerns of the stakeholders are impartially and thoroughly considered. Added some other words in the third paragraph, and just changed the wording around in that little short fourth paragraph. So I don't know whether everybody got this version that went out today. But it's really up to you if you want to show any support at all. Now, it was made clear in the meeting of the Forest Service, because the Forest Service says they agree, I actually used their wording, expresses its willingness to participate in the process, and that's the type of wording that we would expect to see in the Forest Service letter of support, that they did indicate that they would submit some sort of letter to engage in the planning process. And then the other thing that we wanted to make clear, the cities of Cripple and Victor, because it really does affect our watersheds, or could affect our watersheds depending on where it goes, where drink water comes, that we want to see at the table during the decision-making and planning processes. And also make it clear that support for this
not says that this trail really be or has to be built. And that's one thing the Forest Service said. Somebody during that meeting said, well, we have to have this trail. And the Forest Service says, no, we don't have to have this trail. You want to have this trail, and they'll do everything they can, but it's not just the bighorn sheep, it's just not the reservoirs, there's a whole lot of other stuff. And they made it very clear, once they open up a Forest Service plan, all kind of friends come to the table. And so 5 years later, so I think it's a good idea to enter into or support for the planning process, because it's clear the data code process that it brings in a non-partial professional outfit to look at this. And as our letter states here, is that what we expect out of this planning process is that should a trail or should not a trail be constructed, and if one should be constructed, where? And so that's, if you have any concerns, I'm happy to wordsmith this after this meeting. But I guess the main concept is, do we even consider a letter of support for the planning grant?
Well, if we don't have to say in it later.
Well, we would still have a say. We
could just say, no, you can't come through.
Yeah, we would still have a say, because we're going to be a public process here. And they, unless the governor invokes eminent domain, which I don't think he will, but you never know, then if we're going to come across any city property, we've got a say in this. So I don't think there's any harm. I didn't ask Lee specifically to look at the letter.
I've read it, it seems fine to me.
Okay.
So early on, you do
Like your revisions too.
yeah, this is not really one of the most important questions we've got, but it's something we can handle for a while. Sure. See where it goes. So would you review that down, or the person want to take part in it?
No, I mean, if you look at some of the options, it definitely gets them further away from their reservoir, but it's not one of the options that Trails and Open Space likes. And so that's why I think this planning process is a really good idea, because it's going to bring things to light that we see right now. And so the Forest Service said a big part of their planning in this trail, why I can't go up high, why they prefer not to go up high, is because of the bighorn sheep. That probably is in the 50% range of their concerns. So there's a slow other 50%. And then they worry about you setting my water for I'm fine. Yeah, I'm back charming. Wow. That's what I think it's fair. There's more people in there trying. Start a fire, all the dead wood up there. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're saying we're interested, but we're just going to...
We're making it clear by this letter, I think that we want to see what the table on this has.
So probably would be a good thing to have it reflected in the minutes. So it'd be a simple motion to authorize Ray to send the letter in substantially the form submitted.
Absolutely. I was going to have the mayor sign it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would prefer the mayor sign it.
I'm sorry, is there any public comment? So we have a motion, give me 1 second.
I'll second.
Vote.
Mr. Haslett?
Yes.
Mr. Lutheran?
Yes.
Mr. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Ashworth? Dr. Brown?
Yes. Sorry, we'll get on letterhead, Larry, and then you can remind me. And some of the urgency is the grant was due on the 13th of this month. The grant application. It was not that we were dragging our feet, they got this to our attention.
Okay, agenda item number 11, legislative update. Now this song. Evening. Seeing all, Saul Mueller, obvious Cripple Creek, CPR. Thanks to
for having me. Appreciate it. It's been a couple months since I've come and talked to you last. I brought Stephanie Franzen, who's my kind of cohort in the Capitol with me, but just wanted to give a real quick legislative update regarding the election and possible regulatory happenings that could affect us. I'll just jump right into the election side. Right now in the legislature, the House is controlled by the Democrats, the Senate controlled by the Republicans. I don't see that changing much. Even if the Senate does go Democrat, they would have to flip 3 big seats and carry those seats, which would be very difficult. And even if they do flip them, we still have a pretty conservative Senate on that side. So for our purposes, it's not a bad thing, no matter what. And over in the House, we're going to have a new speaker, as well as a new majority leader and minority leader. So all of leadership is going to change. That's also the case with the Senate. Unless the Republicans maintain control, we will have the same minority leader in Lucia Guzman from Denver. But more than likely, if the Republicans maintain control of the Senate, Ken Grantham, our favorite, will be president of the Senate. That's speculation, and as a lobbyist, I'm not allowed to involve myself. So that's all rumor and hearsay, but it's pretty well established that we're going to have some good representation there. And over in the House, probably Polly Lawrence as minority leader. I don't see the balance changing in the House. So I think it's either going to stay status quo or at least effectively so, even if the Democrats take control of the Senate. So, any questions on that? Just real quick, okay. On the legislative and administrative side, in the other branch of government, there is a lot of speculation that Governor Hickenlooper will go with Hillary to Washington if she is to win. So we don't know what, we don't know how, we don't know where he's going to end up, but people are pretty well preparing for that transition to take place. The lieutenant governor would come in. She's a very smart lady, worked on the industry side of healthcare for Kaiser Permanente, so she's pretty well versed in the big industry side. So that's the governor's office report, and I think that's it. No, okay. Lastly is the regulatory side. One thing we are tracking very closely is the Liquor Enforcement Division's attempt to go after our entertainment districts. From what we understand, tomorrow we will hear a draft rule, but Stephanie and I will be there in liquor enforcement, that would basically say if there are 2 establishments who are the only businesses within that entertainment district, if one of those establishments closes for the evening, it means the other establishment has to close as well. And that is totally counter to what we think the entertainment district stands for. The language is very clear in legislation that the notwithstanding gives us basically the right to, if we're in there as an entertainment district and you're approved, it doesn't matter how many businesses are open and operating, that entertainment district still stands. What liquor enforcement is trying to say, and Stephanie's much more versed in this than I am, but they're basically saying, okay, if you have 2 on-premise licensees who have the entertainment district, when one shuts down for the night, that just gives the other entity or business a 24-hour license, which is counter to what we believe is in the statute. So we will keep you updated on that front, but it is going to be contentious, and we may share quite a bit in common with Blackhawk on this, because they're one of 3 cities, including us, to have an entertainment district.
So we're actually saying
Glendale.
common consumption, because the
Common consumption,
is the larger boundary. So what we're talking about is a common consumption area within the entertainment.
Within the entertainment district, that's
That's what I saw on the liquor license, or maybe second year, but remember Debbie brought that up today in the meeting about there's a liquor store. Yeah, wasn't she saying that they need a liquor store within so many feet? Yeah. What is that all about?
So that, I can actually speak to that, because I represent all of the off-premise licensees in our state. From what we did, first of all, it's up to the municipality. They can say it's 1,500 feet, it's 3,000 feet. They can decide the distance.
Population?
Yes.
Population?
Right, but, I mean, I read that, and it didn't seem like reading it, not a saying.
Sorry, what?
Like,
I don't think the governments can per se eliminate the setback requirements. At least not small municipalities like Cripple Creek. We ran up against this in Fairfield, and at least I was going to figure out how to do it.
So you are right, they can't eliminate it, but they can extend it.
They can extend it, they can't.
They can't shrink it, right, because that's determined by statute. And, I mean, then we get into home rule, and what does that mean for home rule? At this point, statute does say 1,500 feet with the new law we passed, Senate Bill 197, around grocery and convenience stores to have multiple licenses. Yes. Yep.
And it's with all new,
Yes.
not with pre-existing.
Yes.
So everything that exists today is grandfathered in, so it doesn't have to worry about that. Back in July. So yes.
I don't know if they could got a new liquor store since then, which is not next door, but down here next door to the other liquor store.
Right, and what they can say is, basically, if two licenses within 1,500 feet of a new license, if they both say, okay, sure, you can have our license, you can set up shop, you can do whatever you want, that's fine. But if one of those liquor stores within 1,500 feet says, no, you have to buy us both out at this cost, or you don't get a license, that can also take place.
And it may be that the license issued before July 1st.
Yeah, they took care of it before July 1st.
So I think their complaint was, they got that liquor store, like you're saying, from like Bob has a grocery store down there, but he wouldn't be able to sell liquor in. If he bought out the other stores, he would be able to. And if he's the only licensed owner, so is he an independent grocer?
It's a real small,
Actually, he could already have gotten a full-strength license, beer, wine, and liquor. Everybody gets one. So unless he's a Kroger or a Safeway or so he's always been eligible.
What's the only license they can run out for hard liquor? Bob's Place? No. I mean, they're over Victor, that new one, Cats. That one, it's just beer and wine only. No. Is there no booze in it? There's a booze in it? Yeah, it's food. But it was a real idea before wine and liquor. We were Forky gave me the right, it's all in the bar. It's okay. There's liquor stores in right there. We should be saying. We got to talk about Victor, but it kind of, you definitely fights out, so sure.
Yeah, the whole point is we knew that if this were to go to the ballot on November 8th, it would have been an overnight change, full-strength beer and wine, just carte blanche. I mean, it would have happened. So what we tried to do is to buy our small businesses statewide at least a generation to decide what they want to do with their businesses. So
This didn't have a whole lot to do, well, it does have a little bit to do with discussion, but when you say you buy out somebody's liquor license, how do you value the liquor license?
it's up to the retailer. They can say, I'm worth $50,000, I'm worth $500,000, or I'm worth $5 million. And there is some discussion about, what if two liquor stores, because you have to buy two. What if two liquor stores both say, well, I'm not going to sell for 500, you better not sell for 500. And what does that mean for legal implications?
There's a lot of states do that. New Mexico, liquor license costs about $1 million.
Yes, they are very valuable there. There was some language in the bill that originally said that you couldn't value it below a certain amount, but that was taken out.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Once you create that floor, it'll stay a floor. It becomes a ceiling at that point. So that is our broad overview. It's active. I can tell you right now, the top ticket races are definitely going to affect the down ticket races. We will see that have true impact in this election. What we won't see is the oil and gas initiatives on the ballot. And what that means is oil and gas won't be bringing in $40, $50, $80 million to combat these things, which actually favors the Democrats. Because part of their campaign, from what I had heard, is they would get out the vote, would have been strong in rural areas and in the outskirts of urban, basically urban interface areas where there's a crossover, and that would have been bad for Democrats. So actually, what the Democrats and the conservationists wanted to do would have hurt them horribly. It would have actually, it had an opportunity to actually flip the House, I think, if oil and gas got on the ballot. So those are the only two that did not make it, I think. Yeah. Everything else did.
So
And I have a document that lays all that out, which I...
So here we are, already September, and I know the last couple years, I think we went up before the session started, at the beginning of the year. So should we be planning something soon?
We were actually just talking about that. Yes. Yes. The thing is, right now, everybody's so focused on their elections and being pushed by leadership in both chambers to get involved in contested seats. So what our thought was to come up probably later November, once people have their kind of chance to get the feet on the ground, sort of decompress from the election cycle, because I tell you what, right now, you don't get a meeting unless it's to help. But I do think it still has incredible value for us. I think it's proven that year after year, especially with leadership in both chambers. They know who you are. They ask about you. You are no longer Cripple Creek, the red-headed gaming community stepchild. You are Cripple Creek, the one who just passed a pretty major piece of legislation in the state.
So, how about on the healthcare, on 69? Is that dead in the water?
I think it's got a real tough road to go.
Most likely.
Whenever you start with taxes shall be raised by X amount at the top of the ballot,
And several Democrats have actually come out against it. Very high profile Democrats, which you wouldn't think would be the case. But if Democrats are saying this is a horrible idea, then I don't think it is.
including Progress Now. They are a heavy liberal entity who's come out in adamant opposition. So I don't see it happening. We have some very upset legislators because of that, and they feel betrayed. Irene Aguilar, Senator Irene Aguilar, is the one who pretty much instigated the whole process, and she feels like she hasn't been taken care of by the people that are usually with her. But it is an extraordinarily expensive proposition for us as taxpayers, and in a state like Colorado, I mean, if we can't fix Tabor the way a lot of people would like it to be fixed, because taxes shall be raised by X amount, it's just not a feasible and viable idea. Other than that, there are actually some real live ballot initiatives out there. So it's going to be really interesting to watch it play out.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Eddie.
I think the intention is to ask Sal to stick around for the executive session. So if I could help phrase the motion would be to determine, to hold an executive session to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop a strategy for negotiations, and/or instruct negotiators pursuant to CRS 246402-4E. And I'd also ask for a few moments to confer with the city attorney regarding specific legal questions pursuant to CRS 246402-4E.
All those in favor of the motion?
We need a motion.
Vote.
Thank you, Mark.
And that can be a voice vote?
Do I have to call it?
You can, but it can be a voice vote, either way.
Thank you.